Good morning, good morning. How are we doing today? Welcome back to my life. Welcome back to my life. It's been a while, innit? It's been a fucking while, innit? How are we? It's been about 4 weeks since I've put a video out. I think 4 weeks. If it is your first time here, I live with 5 dogs and my life is dogs. And my YouTube channel is all about my life with dogs. But today, we're not going to be talking about dogs. So, if you've just joined, please stay. It normally is fun. Today, maybe not so much. I don't need to explain why. I could just carry on making my little videos because I'm just a person, you know. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter, but to some of you people, some of you lovely, lovely people who do watch my videos, you often leave me personal comments about your lives and what goes on with you. They're really, really, really touch me, and they're really, really personal for everyone who wants to watch me at all, but for especially for you guys who leave me the really, really nice comments. I think I owe you people a little bit of my personal life. I've always kept certain things private. I haven't made a video now for like 4 weeks because I just got out of an abusive relationship. I have been in a relationship for a long time. I'm not going to give any specific details about, I'm just going to say the person or them. I don't believe in airing or dirty laundry, as it were, so I'm not going to tell you who or where or what or why. I'm just going to try and keep it brief. That's what I'm going to do. I don't have to explain why. That's just, I don't want to go into huge personal detail. I'm not going to tell you how long we were together, but I'm just going to tell you we were together for longer than many marriages, long time. That relationship has now ended completely. I ended it because of something I found out. And it needed to end way before I ended it, but now it is ended. I just want to let you know that the reason that I haven't made a video for like 4 weeks, nearly 5, is because I've just been, you know, like processing it. There's been a few tears, but honestly, overall, I am way happier. My mood is way better. Like, it is a positive thing for me. But obviously, we were together for a hell of a long time. I can't just snap back and be like, oh yeah, something crazy just happened, you know. I've known that person the longest out of anyone in my entire life, apart from the people who gave birth to me. And so it's been a fucking adjustment, B. And the reason I live here with my mum as a fully grown adult with 4 dogs is because we used to live together, me and this person, and we lived together for a few years, and then it got to the point where it got really bad, and you know, really bad, where police were being called, and it was bad, and they left me and I moved back here, which at the time I was heartbroken and didn't want, but it turned out to be one of the best things ever because I got out of a situation that was really bad for me, and I couldn't see what was right at the time for me, and so reluctantly I moved back in with my mum. But this was way before I started my YouTube channel, and it gave me the confidence to start my YouTube channel because I wasn't in a fucking shitty situation. I suffered verbal, mental abuse for a long time, and my family and friends had tried to tell me, and I knew what was going on, but I always believed that I could fix it. Stories all the time. I felt like they just had bad behaviours, and if we could work through the bad behaviour, then we could be happy. And I even used to tell myself crazy shit like, oh, it's okay. I know that if I spend the rest of my life with this person, I'm not going to be as happy as I could be, but I'm willing to sacrifice that part of my happiness because I love them so much, which is fucking nuts. Don't ever do that, okay? Don't ever do that. I can't believe I did that, but you shouldn't do that. I'm a strong ass motherfucking person, so the only reason that I think I've been able to be in such an awful situation and not fall apart completely is because I have strength of mind. Even though I was in an abusive relationship, I used to still sort of try and take myself away and do things, and when we lived together I would get away when I could, and anyway, so there's that. So yeah, we were living together, and then they left and I moved back in with my mum. As time went on, I was starting to see how bad it was, and you know, when you have space, you can reflect more. And I started to see from like a less in the middle of it all perspective how they didn't have my best interests at heart, and I started to spend less time with them. And it came to like Christmas and I decided to split up with the person because I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. They're making me miserable. They don't have my best interests at heart. I'm giving everything, getting nothing. And so I did that. And then they, you know, tried to lure me back in, you know. They were sending me messages the whole time being like, I miss you, come back, blah, 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 blah. But I stupidly decided after a couple of months that I was missing them, and I went back there. And they basically didn't change, nothing changed, and I still carried on. And in all honest to God truth, if I'd never found out what I found out, I would still have stayed with this person until I died. I was fully invested. I was like, this is my person. They have issues, but I love them enough to try and sacrifice myself and put them first. And I tried to go to counselling. They used to say they would, and then it never happened. And they used to say, you know, you could be the problem, you know, you do realise you could be. It was mental abuse, it was verbal abuse. I knew that I was in a bad relationship, but I also didn't realise the extent of the person. Like, basically, they truly 100% were narcissistic. And that word is being thrown around at the minute loads because it's a popular word. But honestly, you look up narcissistic personality disorder and this person ticks every box. We used to fight a lot because I used to fight so hard against the way they were behaving, and even the way they used to talk about other people. It used to not sit well with me. Like, I'm not a perfect person, no one's a perfect person, so I'll have done things wrong. And the thing is, whenever we used to have problems, I always used to go over in my head like, is it me? It could be me. It probably is me. Like, what can I do different? What can I do? Like, and I used to say to myself, I used to get so confused about whether I was the issue. And my family and everyone used to try and tell me, this is insane, like, they are abusive, you are not doing anything wrong, it's not your fault. Like, they could see it. And as with all abusive relationships, unless you decide you're done, anyone in the world could tell me, 4 million people could tell me not to do something, and unless I decided I didn't want to do it, I would still fucking do it. It didn't matter how many people would tell me until I was ready to believe that I was done. I used to say, like, I'm done, and I never used to believe I was done. I used to think, yeah, I'm telling myself I'm done, but I know I'm not. But it is completely done. So this happened. I found out the thing that I'm not going to go into details about because there's no point. I might do one day. And the reason I'm able to talk about this with some distance and without getting upset about it is because it's been a good more than 8 weeks now since I split up with them, and I haven't had any contact with them really, hardly at all, apart from the contact they tried to have with me and the one thing that I responded. I've been pretty strong, and it's been the best thing for me. So I have worked through my feelings. I feel happier. It's going to take time still, but overall I feel like it was the best thing that ever happened to me. When I found out, it didn't feel like it, but now, and I knew I would feel like this, I always knew I have a good sense of what's going on. Even when I know it's not good for me, I have a good sense of things. I knew that if I do decide to break free from this relationship, that it would be the best thing that ever happened to me. And I would probably be upset that I wasted so much time on it, but I think there's no point in being negative about it. Like, there was probably some positives that came out of the relationship, and I could list them, I could go into them, but ultimately they were toxic, they were abusive, they were narcissistic, and they lied, they manipulated. And I'm really relieved. Honestly, the biggest thing I feel right now is relief that I could see so clearly what I was trying to figure out, but I couldn't figure it out until I saw, like, black and white, them lying. And I was like, now it makes sense. Because I used to think they were lying and manipulating, but I used to try and be like, oh no, maybe you're being unfair because, I don't know, I think I'm a decent person and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I like to see the best in people. This is why I prefer dogs, because people really just let me down. And I surround myself with dogs because there is no deception. There is no manipulation. What you see is what you get. You know they're not going to be talking about you behind your back. You know they're not deceiving you. I had a clear example of the manipulation and the lies, and I was like, wow, I was right. My gut feeling, you should never ignore the gut feeling. Generally, your gut feeling has a basis in fact. And I knew something was going on. I knew there was deception going on. I knew the whole time, but I just didn't have the proof. Then once I got the proof, I was like, oh, yes, I see. And honestly, I'm really relieved that I found out what I found out, because honest to God, I would have stayed with this person for the rest of my life for detriment to myself. I used to feel very trapped because we were gonna move back in together at some point. They wanted me to move back in with them, and I was reluctant because I was dreading going back to a life where I felt so miserable and repressed. And when we did split up after we lived together and they left, I fought to have them back. I begged them to come back, and then it was weird because once I got out of it and I was in like a non-manipulative, non-abusive space, I dreaded going back to that. And I loved them, but I knew it wasn't going to change. I knew they weren't going to change. They still to this day have never admitted any wrongdoing. They've still never owned up to it. They've still lied to the end. And I never got an apology. It doesn't matter anyway, because even if I did, I wouldn't go back there, because I've had so much time away from it that the more time you are away from toxicity, the stronger you get. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there, because I could literally talk on this for like a lot longer. I could talk on everything. I could go into every great detail. But ultimately, I'm just trying to say that I'm good. It's just I needed some time, you know, to process what was going on, to work through it in my brain. I've been taking some time. Honestly, I've been having a nice time. Like, the start was shit, but I've been just having some taking care of myself time. Like, honestly, I've just been relaxing, de-stressing, enjoying my dogs, doing fun things. Like, I didn't even think I was going to get emotional. I'm not even feeling emotional, but what just made me emotional is the fact that I took time for myself, because I was in this relationship for so long that I spent so much of myself focusing on them all the time and their narcissism that I put myself second. And it's been going on for a long, long time. So I never ever knew what it felt like for such a long time to just think about me. That's what's getting me emotional, is I didn't realise how much I was putting myself second in life. And I still do it. Like, my dogs come before me, my family come before me. But that's what makes people like me vulnerable to people like my ex-partner, is because I didn't honestly think I was going to get upset, but I'm not editing this out. Like, this is people, I have emotions. I, you know, didn't realise how much I was putting myself second until these last few weeks. And one of the hardest things is realising just how much you were in an abusive relationship and just how much they were abusing you mentally and verbally, and what a toll it's taken on you. Like, I used to spend every waking moment thinking about them, and even when we were in a good place, I'd be thinking about if they were okay, if they were going to end up in a bad place with me again, and it was all consuming. And these past like eight plus weeks, it's been nearly 3 months now, it's kind of been difficult to sort of like get used to thinking about just me and what I want to do, because I never came first, ever. I never came first. I put them first. And I used to put all the effort in and give them things and do nice things, and I'd get nothing back. So ultimately, it's just been really, really crazy getting used to just thinking about my own brain and what I want and what I like. So honestly, like, that's the thing that I've been finding the craziest, is learning what it feels like not to be 100% consumed with somebody else. And like, I've got no intentions of getting into another relationship for a long, long time, if ever. Probably ever, but like, even if I do, I'll probably keep it private, because I think it's healthy to keep something private that's personal to you. So I never was gonna ever show you that part of my life, but it's important that to share a little bit of yourself, especially if you're putting yourself out there into the public in some form, way or another. And people tell me personal things. I think it's only fair that I tell you some personal things. Good vibes, fun times, silliness, that's what I like. It's what gets me through, and I feel like it helps people, the silliness, but it also helps people to share experiences. And I know there'll be people, if they do come across this video, who know exactly what I'm talking about. It's crazy to be in a trapped situation, and I felt trapped. And even though I had the ability to get out and I wasn't really trapped, I felt trapped. So your own brain is your worst enemy. It's easier said than done, but if this video helps anyone in any way, shape or form, then it was worth doing. Hello! Just really quickly before I end this video, it occurred to me when I was editing it that I don't think I've kind of like gotten across just how bad the situation was. When I say it was abusive, I mean it was controlling, mental, verbal. There was, you know, physical abuse too. It wasn't so much physical abuse, it was more mental, verbal, controlling, but there was also an element of that going on, and it was like serious enough where police were called. And like I said, I don't want to get into the specifics, but in my unwillingness to talk about really personal things, I feel like I might have made it sound like, oh yes, it was just casually in an abusive relationship. It was really bad. It was bad to the point where I've had friends tell me they're relieved because they thought something terrible was going to happen to me, and I'm thankful that I'm no longer in that situation anymore. I hope you got something out of this video. This is not my usually regularly scheduled program. We usually just have a fun time with dogs. I'm here, I'm okay. And I'm trying to work on some more fun videos and do some different things. I think it'll be good to do some different things. I'm gonna hopefully get back to regular posting, but I might need a little bit more time. But please don't go anywhere. I'm still here and I'm still thinking about everyone. And if you're someone who's watching my videos and they help you, I'm sorry that it's been a long time. And I'm sorry if you've run out of videos to watch. I will be making some more. Okay, you should subscribe to my channel because honestly, normally it's a fucking good time. And you should definitely click the little bell because that will tell you when I'm making more videos. Well, not when I'm making them. It'll tell you when I've posted them though. And you should share this video because experiences unites us all. That was my deep for the day. I find it hard to talk about my feelings. So if this video wasn't as like fulfilling and as deep as you wanted it to be, it's because I find it hard to talk about my personal feelings. I tried, I did my best. I didn't want to get too deep into the ins and outs of it. So if you do want me to talk more about it, then let me know in the comments and I will at some point. Share the video, like the video, subscribe, come back with more dog life. It helps my channel prosper, honey. Goodbye.